All right. Well, welcome everyone to our, I presume, last LEMC meeting of 2025. We have apologies from 4 people, Danielle Green, Darren Events Management, Rob Bose, Barb Garner from the high school, and Evan Johnson, Area Officer from DFES. Anybody know of any other apologies? No? So going around the table, we've got everyone just announce who they are and who they represent, starting that direction.
Shelley Matthews, Shire of Dowerin CRC Community Development Coordinator.
Yep.
Jeff Walker, WA Police.
Shane Allen Scott, WA Police Sergeant Officer in Charge, Dowerin Police Station.
Kira Skinner, Shire of Dowerin Compliance Officer.
Carly Rose, Shire of Dowerin, Manager of Governance and Community Services.
Robert Trepp, Shire President of Dowerin.
Manisha Bhattakur, CEO, Shire of Dowerin.
Sonia King, Dowerin Events Management Operations Manager.
Phil Pickering, member of the Bushfire Brigade in Dowerin.
Thanks, everyone. So the first, yes, and online we have. You're going to have to apologise. I don't know the names. RN, are you there? No, RS.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Shelby Robinson, District Emergency Management Committee.
And let me guess, MP is Michael Phillips.
Oh, bang on. Yep,
Michael?
love that. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Michael Phillips, Department of Communities.
So RN, a second chance.
Meeting notes.
I think it's a automatic AI reading notes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a new one to me. Thank you. All right. So moving on to the first item of business is confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting. I've got them in my hot little hand. Read through them. Everyone done the same? Any queries? No? All right.
Got a couple in there.
Yeah.
You better, James, take that DBFB off, mate. Because Gavin Hagboom is now the Deputy Bushfire Brigade. Yeah. Just an FCO in there.
Any other amendments? No? Okay, subject to that one amendment, recommendation is that the minutes of the Local Emergency Management Committee meeting held on the 21st of July 2025 as presented in attachment 2.1a be confirmed as a true and correct record of proceedings with a plural with a full stop. I'd just like to add there. Who wants to move that? Phil, and I'll second it. All those in favour?
Yep.
Online? Yep.
Yes.
2 yeses? Yep. Great. Carried. So moving on, item 3, business arising from the previous minutes. There were a couple of comments from the Shire of Dowerin. Applications for generators through the Disaster Ready Fund have been submitted. We're waiting to hear back, which may take some time. Any closure on that? No. Dowerin Bushfire Brigade generator is on site, needs to be connected by an electrician, which will hopefully happen in the near future.
Still got to happen. Yeah.
Still got to happen.
Do we not have the plug and everything set up though?
That's it. But we've got to get the cables made up to go from the generator to.
All right. That's the only business arising that I could see. Does anyone else wish to bring up any outstanding issues from the previous minutes?
No, we've done our radio course.
Yep.
A week ago. There's 10 or 11 blokes there, or people, I should say.
And the Dowerin Field Days has been and gone. Hopefully no events to report from that. All right. So, standing items, agency updates, starting with the Shire of Dowerin. Manisha, would you like to cover that one?
Just one addition. I think we did an emergency evacuation drill at the depot a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's the only addition, other than two of our staff members had attended the DEMP forum at Bruce Rock for 2 days, and Department of Communities audit completed on the rec centre and community club on 4th of September as attached.
Thank you, Manisha. There's an attachment, our first attachment, 4.1.2a, which is the Department of Communities Emergency Relief and Support report. Have we got anyone that wants to talk to that from Department of Communities?
Yes, certainly. Look, it's essentially all it is there's a little bit of a discussion being held at the moment between DEFA State Recovery and ourselves for a bit of a policy gap for the long-term accommodation. Currently, the mandate is for Department of Communities to be supporting the short and medium term, but we've still got some people up in the Kimberley floods area who was still not in their homes, and that's coming up to 3 years. So it's just a little bit of a discussion, I suppose, or lots of meetings between ourselves and DEFA State Recovery to work out who's going to be responsible for that ongoing sort of accommodation piece. And obviously there's, in terms of our preparedness and readiness for the high threat bushfire season, that's an ongoing piece of work. We do have now what we call go bags have landed, so that's just a matter of time before we get that into the northern trailers. They're kind of split up into two separate areas. One's like a bit of a night pack and one's a day pack, I suppose you'd call it. So when people come in and register at evacuation centres, they'll be given both those packs if that's required, if it looks like they're going to be there for the night. So it's just to be more prepared, I suppose. But yeah, that's another piece of ongoing work, but it's just about to come to fruition, which is excellent.
Thanks very much, Michael. That's a great job. So the next on the list is Dowerin Bush Fire Brigade. Anything to report, Phil?
Not over and above what I've just
mentioned.
No. As far as I know, the vehicles are right. They've serviced a good year. So they should be right to go. We haven't struck any other issues. I've got to catch hold of Russell and organise a couple of fittings for the two trucks from BIC to Camlock.
Yep. Thanks, Phil. Moving on to Shelley from the CRC. Anything to report?
We've started the process of the implementation for the Vulnerable Persons Register. We work with Home Care to get that set up and ready. We're working with governance as well through the Shire, so I'm not sure. We're nearly there, aren't we, Carly?
Yep, going to council.
Yeah.
Yep. I think we're going to cover that later in the general business. Thanks, Shelley. Dowerin District High School, Barb's an apology. Dowerin Events Management, Sonia, anything to report? Great event, no
No, there were no
incidents.
significant incidents on our side. Yeah, I don't know if anything else in the community came up. No, it's good.
How was attendance? Was it up or down compared to?
Similar to last year. I think they reported 17,000.
Yeah. Thanks, Sonia. St John's Ambulance. Who's representing St John's? Noah? Apology. Sorry?
Is it Panda? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Panda, but yeah, I didn't get to the last meeting, so I can't even.
Okay. Shire of Dowerin. Anything else to report? No.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Shane, WA Police.
Thank you. In the prevention space, I guess we continue to focus on road user behaviour, so managing or trying to prevent road crashes, and then obviously leading into the bushfire season, we've got some training coming up around vehicle control points, which is our area of expertise if we have a significant incident as far as bushfires. So that's more preparedness. We've got a 3-hour training session Friday morning for that. But yeah, that continues to be our focus, and things are going well.
Thanks, Shane. So item 4.2 is the usual. Does anyone, after having reviewed the contact and resources list, have any amendments to make?
Can you get the list back on the FCA course? No. Can you get my name back on the FCA course? Of course, not the sheet. It's not the. It's not
Noted that one.
of the record.
And anybody got any other corrections? There's no changes, no. Any comments to make about the local emergency management arrangements, attachment 4.2B? Updates to that? No. Okay, moving on to general business. I'm going to handball this to our compliance officer, who shall give us an update. I see that we've got a plan for next year. Perhaps you'd like to comment?
Yeah, so it's just setting out a layout for what the year should be to try to keep us in line with regulations and make the meetings more productive rather than just being a tick and flick in a way. So yeah, we'll be looking at a tabletop exercise for an evacuation at field days in February, a guest presentation in May for local government responsibilities, things like sites, triggers, and our role in initiating an evacuation. August, we have training for all the LEMC organisations, how they would be activated and what their responsibilities would be. And then November, we'll just be reviewing our activities, lessons learned, and brainstorming for what we can do for the following year. Thanks,
Kiara. I'd just like to comment, it is a legal requirement that we have a tabletop or an exercise every year. Have we had one this year? No.
What you can use is if there has been an incident for response, that can be used as your, your proxy obligation or requirement for that, some sort of exercise. So.
Did anyone think of anything that would be suitable?
It's maybe a couple of property fires. For want of a better thing, which required a bit of a multi-agency response, but that's probably the only thing I can think of that's required multi-agency, unless you wanted to, use the coordination of the field days this year, all of the services connected to that, with obviously the lead up, the running, and then the post.
Sorry, if I could just jump in.
Yeah.
Just on that, all the governance arrangements around LEMC work on a financial year basis. So I don't think the Shire of Dowerin reported anything in last financial year, but according to this schedule, will obviously fit in for this financial year, if that makes sense. So I guess it's a bit late to address last year's now, but at present time, there isn't any implications per se for not doing an exercise. So I think we're covered moving forward according to this business plan that Carly put together.
Okay, that's good to know. Thanks, Shelby. Right, a good initiative, Kiara. So let's move straight on to the resolution. 5.1, that the Local Emergency Management Committee endorse the Local Emergency Management Committee Annual Plan 2026 as presented in attachment 5.1A. Who wants to move that one, please? Sonia King, and seconded. Bill Pickering. All those in favour? 100%
Yes,
carried.
please.
Oh, you guys online, sorry. Yep. Shelby, yes? Good.
Yep, sorry. Yep.
Yeah. Carried. Okay. So the next one is the initiative to actually, I think it was recommended on one of our previous meetings, to develop a vulnerable persons policy and associated register. So these are detailed in attachments 5.2A through 5.2D, 4 separate attachments. The CRC Community Development Coordinator, in conjunction with Manager of Governance and Community Services, have developed a suite of documents enabling the Shire to collect, maintain and store personal information of these people for use in emergency situations. There is obviously privacy issues here, so this information may be shared with emergency services when considered critical. Opting into the program is voluntary and can be rescinded at any time. Persons interested in being involved will be required to complete a form allowing the Shire to store their information, provide this in exceptional circumstances, the relevant bodies as outlined within the policy. So if we look at the attachments, the policy is there, quite straightforward. Definitions, register, talks about privacy, who manages the register, how it is engaged within the community, reporting and review. Any other comments you'd like to make, Manisha?
I think Shelby has brought up some important considerations, matters of discussion. So yep. I think she's flagged some key components like service expectations and liability, shared responsibility and community resilience. And again, it does intersect the sensitive personal data, health information, and the continuity of planning and things like that. So through the chair, if Shelby wants to make some comments on this.
Yeah, thank you. Apologies, I can't be there in person today. I'm midway through to the goldfields at the moment, but I did send some feedback through last week. Generally the vulnerable persons register isn't supported through DFES or many other emergency service agencies. There's just a lot of, I guess, sensitivity around it, as well as just, I guess, expectations on what that then means for the service providers, whether that's the Shire or the CRC or another, but then also the expectations of the people who are signing up to that list. It's generally considered that it erodes senses of resilience because we increase these factors of thinking that someone's going to come knock on our door or send us a message, which we know for so many reasons that often isn't the case. There are also some key concerns around the new Privacy and Responsible Information Sharing Act of last year, which comes into effect July next year. And whilst DFES is an agency, and I'm sure all the other agencies around the room are still working out what exactly that looks like for our agencies, it could mean that even if you get someone to sign a waiver that says, yeah, please share my information with the relevant people, it might mean that our agencies can't actually use that information regardless. So I think on that aspect alone, it may be somewhat immature, I guess, to bring a policy into regard until that Privacy and Responsible Information Sharing Act comes into effect and we really understand what that means. And then I guess the other really big concern in my mind is a bit of planning around what happens if either the Shire's appetite for this risk changes, because it will be a risk to take on this program. So if that changes down the line, whether that's in a year or 10 years, what kind of continuity planning is there to actually back out of this and make sure that everyone on that list understands that that service is now no longer available. I guess, yeah, the key points is I do really think it's a good idea from the Shire. I think the focus towards vulnerable people is incredibly important. I just think there are potentially better ways to go about it that build community resilience rather than focus on reliance. So we can look at doing things like, getting to know your neighbour programs within the Shire. We can work with the service providers within the Shire who already have those connections to vulnerable people and work through them to build their capacity in emergency management and make sure they have plans around contacting their people who use service providers. And I understand that there might not be many formal service providers in town. I'm not naive to that fact, but I do think there are potentially other mechanisms where we can access these vulnerable people within town and build their capacity a little bit more. The other aspect is there are potentially going to be some people in town who won't, self-identify as vulnerable enough to be placed on a list. And I think it would be really unfortunate that we don't reach into those people in a different way because they're likely going to need equal, if not more, help than those who are putting their hand up to say, yes, please take care of me in these circumstances. So that's all just advice. I'm not here to, as I say, DFES doesn't necessarily support the idea of a vulnerable persons register, but what the local government and the LEMC choose to do is ultimately up to you guys. But I just wanted to share some observations and thoughts. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks, Shelby. And attachment 5.2C is the information sheet, which I presume we're going to put in the dispatch to advertise to people that the register exists, why you should register, re-emphasising that your privacy is of great importance and how to go about registering. And just what Shelby brought up, maybe those other support groups can actually, if people aren't going to nominate themselves, approach them. Righty. And obviously there's the application form, which has a bunch of stuff and a consent at the end, which is most important.
Through the chair, if I
Yeah.
can, totally understand the points. There are other shires that has adopted similar policies, but what we would be highly advocating for is doing the right thing. And the Priest Act is coming, and we are on the top of that. Madison from our office is a Priest champion, so we'll keep an eye. And while we were doing the same for the council, we actually put a little caveat on that this will be with consultation with LEMC as a team, as well as being on the top of those new regulations that's coming in on as well. So it will be constantly monitored and reviewed.
Yep. Thank you, Nisha. So moving straight on to the recommendation 5.2, that the local emergency management committee support the Shire's vulnerable persons policy, procedure and framework. Who would like to move that motion, please?
I can move it.
Manisha moves it. I'll second it. All those in favour?
Shelby? Check with Shelby.
Yeah, Shelby, are
Yes,
you?
indeed.
Yes.
I'll
Michael, thank
probably
you.
just abstain from this one if that's all right.
Okay. Noted. Yep. Carrie. Yep. Okay, item 5.3, local emergency relief and support plans, which is a big 19-page document put out by the Department of Communities Northern District. Michael, would you like to?
Yeah. Look,
talk
essentially,
about
what for sure, yeah. Essentially, that LERSP is what we now, it's our emergency management plan, I suppose, for whatever better word. It replaces an old LOOP, which is a local emergency welfare plan, which was about 80 pages long and very, very difficult, I guess, to digest. Really, the new one is much shorter. It kind of separated into three parts, I suppose. The alert, activation and stand down phase for Department of Communities, the different services that we do offer when we're activated, or when the state support plan is activated, and the local evacuation centres, not just for Dowerin, but the surrounding evacuation. Pardon me, I'll get it out in a minute. The surrounding evacuation centres as well. So it kind of gets a bit of cross-town collaboration, which is also a very, very good thing, I would have thought. Yeah, generally, every shire is a little bit different. Some shires like to have it moved and seconded. Some others just like to be acknowledged as an addendum to the LEMA. So I'm quite happy to be guided by whatever yourselves wish. But just I guess the most important thing is that it is added as an addendum to the LEMA, because when the IC is in consultation with yourselves and us, it's a bit of a three-way conversation to determine which evac centre to open. So it's a pretty good document to have. But yeah, essentially, if we could just, I guess, acknowledge it, or whatever you guys would prefer, that'd be really helpful.
Thanks, Michael. I think the resolutions proposes that we'll put it as an addendum to our LEMA. But just to reiterate, this is for the Northern District, which supports the shires of Beverley, Cunderdin, Dowerin, Goomalling, Mundaring, Northam, Berriding, Tamman, 2J and York, even Mundaring.
Yeah, there's a very small amount of the Mundaring Shire that we do cover in the wheat belt. I know it's a pretty big area.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right. Anybody wish to add any further comment to that document? No? All right, moving straight on to the recommendation 5.3, that the Local Emergency Management Committee, number 1, notes the information provided on the LERS, Local Emergency Relief and Support Plan, and 2, endorses the LERS as an addendum to the Shire of Dowerin's local emergency management arrangements. Who wants to move that one?
Yeah, I'm happy to move that for sure.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Thanks, Michael. And seconded by Phil Pickering. All those in favour? Carried. Shelby, I presume you're a yes on that one? Yep.
Yes.
Unanimous. Carried. Yep. Okay. The next item is updates to the local emergency management arrangements. It's just a statement that we've replaced evacuation centre with the word, all references to welfare centre are to be replaced with evacuation centre. Where the terms relate to support functions such as food, clothing or financial assistance, it should be updated to emergency relief and support. So these updates ensure consistency with current state terminology and will be reflected in the next LEMA review, which will be mid next year, I presume, as part of that process. So recommendation 5.4, that the committee supports the terminology updates within the Shire of Dowerin's local emergency management arrangements to replace welfare centre with evacuation centre and welfare support with emergency relief and support. Who wants to move that one?
Yeah, I can move that as
well. Thanks, Michael, and seconded by Manisha, CEO. All those in favour? Shelby? Yep. Carried, 100%. So, future meeting dates, were they actually quantified in that plan for next year, or?
Not yet.
Okay, so to be advised, there's a comment there saying committee members are welcome to attend via Teams, but just let the organiser know prior to the meeting. Yes, go ahead.
In the contact register, of course, we all know councillors has an update for 3 councillors. So Councillor Wayne Allsop, Councillor Bev Ward and Councillor Nadine McMorrin will be replaced by Councillor Jenna Griffin, Councillor Ashley Jones and Councillor Chris Meekins. And also on that note, a bit digressing from LEMC, we, Shire of Dowerin had the largest number of vote turnout in the state. So
Oh,
we
wow.
just interviewed by ABC like half an hour ago, which is
Oh,
really
wow.
that's another great. Yeah, thank you.
Is that a good sign?
It's a good sign.
Yes. Usually unhappy people want to make changes, but yeah, no, that is a good sign. That's
Sign of community engagement.
yes,
So,
yeah.
so we as a LEMAC is doing well as well. So
Yeah. Yep.
That's great.
Right. Thanks for that closing comment. So anyone got anything else to add before I close the meeting?
Yeah, just sorry, hopefully a very quick one.
Yep.
We've got the Dowerin Town and Lesser Hall as our primary evacuation centre. Just, I guess, wanted to discuss it hopefully very quickly with everyone. Wondering about making the community club as the primary evac centre, just because it's, like I said, it's a newer facility, probably doesn't hold as many people, but there's a generator connection and, you know, all sort of emergency relief and support stuff is there, you know, like food and the catering is already kind of on site. Is that something that the committee would be, you know, I guess happy to discuss if we need to?
Definitely.
I think it was brought up one time before, wasn't it?
Last meeting.
There was a reason.
So previously the community club hadn't been audited, which has now happened and
yes,
all passed on. Yeah, we're just waiting on that process, and then pretty sure we did already put in the LEMA that the community club was the first preference. So yeah, I'm happy to go ahead with that if everyone else is on the same page.
So the LEMA's already been amended?
Oh, cool.
80% certain.
Okay.
My mistake. That's my fault. Sorry, guys.
No, that's you can't read minds, Michael. That's thanks for bringing it up.
Oh,
all right. That being said, I think we're all done. So I declare the meeting closed at 2:36. Thanks everyone for attending.